Hey, it's Bree with 6 Hearts on 6 Acres. Welcome back. Today we are going to talk about seed potatoes and how to get those started for your garden. I go to my local farm store and just buy these 4-pound bags. I have 3 different varieties this year. I'm growing Kennebec, Yukon Gold, and Red Lesota. Whenever you buy seed potatoes, they are just going to be a small potato and they have these little eyes sprouting all over them. This one has about, 5 or 6 going right now. You could plant this whole potato and then you will have multiple plants come out of it. But that's not the best way to do it. The best way to do that is to cut this potato into chunks that have 2 to 3 eyes a piece and plant those. That is what we're going to do today, and you want to do that a few days ahead of the time that you plant so the cuts can have time to kind of harden and heal themselves over before they go into the ground. This helps prevent them from rotting once they're in the soil. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Let's go ahead and get started. So this plant I just cut into 2 pieces. It has a couple of eyes on each one, and I'm going to store them with cut side up like that for just a few days and let that heal so it doesn't rot once it's in the ground. I'm going to do the rest of these and I will show them to you when I'm done. This potato only has 1 eye, so I'm not going to bother chopping it up. So this is what I have for my Kennebec potatoes. That will fill my whole entire bed. All right, when I was going through the bags, I found one that had been already cut in. So I want to show you kind of what it looks like. You see how it is obviously not a fresh cut. It is completely healed over. It is dry and it's kind of a little bit hard. That's what you want before you put your potatoes into the ground. Otherwise, you have a really high chance of them rotting if you have a lot of rain. So this is what we are going for. So from 12 pounds of seed potatoes, I got these for my Kennebec Reds. I got this bundle for my Red Lesotas. And this bundle right here for my Yukon Golds. These will all go into the ground around St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to be planting out my beet seeds today. There's several different ways to plant out beet seeds, but my favorite way to do it is just to sprout them into a 72 cell tray, and then once they germinate and come up, I keep them in there for about a week, and then I move them into the garden. If you don't want to do it that way, you can direct sow these seeds, but for my first succession of them, I like to do it this way so I can put them inside and have more control over the warmth of the soil. I find that if I put them in the garden this time of the year, I don't have great germination rates just because that soil isn't fully warm yet. This year has been so warm that we might not have that issue, but I'm just going to do what I always do and do my first succession inside, and then I'll do my second succession direct sown outside. Beet seeds are really cool because let me show you what they look like. That is what beet seeds look like. And one of these little kernels is not just one beet, it's multiple. So I put 1 in every single cell, but it's very normal for you to have 2 to 3 beets germinate in each cell from just one of these kernels. I don't separate them. Beets are strong enough to push each other apart in the garden. And so I sow these into the garden with the entire cell intact. And then even if that's 3 beets, they will grow together and push themselves up, and then I'll have 3 ready at once. So I'm gonna go ahead and sow these today. Remember, when we sow seeds, we try and push them down twice the depth of the size that they are. So that's how deep I'm gonna go when I'm planting these today. I have many varieties here. We'll go ahead and start with the ones that are in my hand, and these are Ruby Queen. My seed starting mix is already very wet, so I'm just gonna make my holes and get to work. I'm not gonna even worry about labeling like what type of beets I'm putting in, because I don't actually care. I use them all for the same thing, but I just like to have multiple varieties and flavors and colors. The next ones I'm going to do are these golden beets by Baker Creek. Next are these bull's blood beets. You can tell this package is several years old and has been used multiple times. That is why I do not feel guilty about having a huge selection of seeds, because 1, I use them, they feed my family, but 2, they don't go bad if you store them correctly. You can use the same package of seeds for many, many years. These are some Detroit Reds. Golden Detroit. I had never eaten beets before I grew them in my own garden. I just assumed that I didn't like them. They didn't look good or sound good to me. And I will say that there are some ways to prepare them that I don't love them. I've tried roasted beets a few different times, and they just are not my favorite. But I do really love pickled beets, and I like to can those. So last year was the first year growing and trying them, and I only did 4 jars because I wasn't sure if I would like them or not. But I love them, and I think that those 4 jars are actually already finished. So I will do several more jars next year, or that is my plan anyways, because I really like them. It's a good snack. rooster crows all day long. I don't know why I thought, like, probably because TV makes it seem that way, but I thought that roosters only crowed in the morning. But our guy crows in the morning and all day long and all night long as well. He's pretty annoying, honestly. I like it sometimes, but sometimes I'm like, would you shut up? All right, I'm gonna get these covered up, and then I'm just gonna move them to my growing station in my basement, and they will not be there for long at all. I'm not gonna put them on a heating mat like you see me do with a lot of my seeds. Beets don't need warm soil, super warm soil to germinate. Just the heat from the temperature of my house will be plenty for them. And then next week they will be going, well, next week or the week after, they will be going into my garden, depending on how long it takes them to germinate. All right, it has been several days since we went ahead and cut those potatoes up, and we have let them sit in the sun and really grow those eyes on them, and they have some really great growth. And today is the day that I'm going to go ahead and move those into the garden. My dad has always told me to plant your potatoes on St. Patrick's Day. That was yesterday. I am a day late, but I'm going to go ahead and get them in today. I already have my beds pretty much prepared for them. These are going to be new beds for us this year. They are just little metal raised beds. They're 6x3. I'm going to make 3 trenches in them, and they're only partially filled right now. So I'm going to put 3 trenches in them, put the potatoes in, cover those potatoes up with the dirt, and then as they grow, we will continue to top these beds with compost throughout the next coming weeks. All right, in this first bed, I'm gonna go in with some Yukon Golds. The eyes on these potatoes have a lot of growth, and they're looking really good. When you put these potatoes in the ground, you're gonna put them eyes up, cut side down if they have a cut side, but always eyes pointed up, because those are gonna be your plants. They grow up out of the ground, and then your potatoes are gonna grow down below those plants. Olivia's out here, and she's actually gonna help me put these into the garden. All right, cut side up. Nope, cut side up. I'm sorry, eye side up is what I meant. There you go. Nope, too close. Yep, perfect, right there. So we're gonna put these about 3 inches apart is how I like them. That one's kind of got eyes everywhere, so you can just put it however. All right, we have our first row in. We're going to cover that row and then make another, the word is gone. We're going to make just another furrow on the other side and get those ones planted too. You can space these one out a little bit. Space them out a little more.
This one is really funny.
See that thing poking out the top?
Yeah.
You want to put that up towards the sky. Uh-huh. Good job.
It's growing?
Yeah, that's where it's going to grow its plants.
This is gonna be funny.
Space those to fill the rest of that row. Good. High five. I'm going to space them out just a little bit, okay? Yeah, don't do that. These beds are cheap. Yeah. Huh? Alright, grab two out of this bag. No, not that bag. Yep, we still got to plant that bed. All right, we have that first bed planted. I'm going to cover those potatoes up, and Olivia's going to start putting our Kennebec potatoes in the second bed. I got those potatoes all in, so I'm going to go ahead and water them in really well, and they will grow. I'll probably see sprouts in about 2 weeks, and I will bring you back and show you those as soon as they come up. If you're looking to grow your garden with your focus on feeding your family, potatoes is something that needs to be on your must-grow list. One, they're super inexpensive to purchase. I buy my potato seed at the farm store. I get 4-pound bags for $4 a piece, and I was able to fill 2 of my beds with 2 bags, so $8. And that's going to supply me with probably like, I don't know, I don't even want to guess how many potatoes, but I will get lots more than I put in. They're very easy to care for. You keep them watered. They are frost tolerant. They don't like a hard freeze, but even if you do get a hard freeze and it kills your greens back, I have never had any problem in the past with those greens coming back up from that same potato. So they're frost tolerant. They're gonna do really well. They are just super easy to grow, and they don't require very much thought or work put into them once they're in the ground. You put them in the ground, you water them in as they sprout. You continue to cover those with soil or compost, whatever you use. And then once you have that bed or your area completely filled, just let them grow and grow. And then as those potato plants die back, that's how you know that they are ready to harvest. So once your plant completely dies back, you can pull those plants up out of the ground and dig out your potatoes. And it's like a little treasure hunt in your garden. So it's always super fun when you get to that point. What was I saying? So they're inexpensive. They're really low maintenance and easy to grow, and they don't take up a ton of room for as much produce as you get back. So make sure and put those in your garden this year. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And over the last few days, this video is going to be several days combined. But I am so glad you're here, and I hope for you to continue to be here as my garden grows and starts to really turn it into an actual garden. I know right now it's a lot of brown, but just wait a few short months and this place is going to look completely different. And I hope that you're here for that journey, and I hope that I encourage you to grow your own food in your own backyard and really have that joy of gardening for your own family.